Wow. Hey, so I just wanted to drop by real quick and let you guys know something that happened with me. I hope it helps somebody else. Some people know, some people don't know, like, what I've been through in my history, but I've always had an extreme fear of like medical stuff and physical illnesses and things like that. And anything that has to go in my body, in a medical way. So I was working on this, and the whole thing I've been through for the past year has had me working on this anyway. It's been amazing. So I did this type of healing work yesterday where I went back into the memory of something that happened, which was one of the original root causes of my life turning in a different direction when I was about 10. And it was an incident that happened at school that put me into like a really bad fear place and an anxiety place and stuff. So I thought I was going to bail at the beginning of it. She kind of had me go down these steps and I immediately just fell into a black hole, and my body was sweating and I was completely uncomfortable, and I was like, oh man, I'm like, this sucks. This is going to suck. So I went back into the memory and was remembering details that, of course, I haven't before, because with trauma, you can black those out, especially trauma that happened so long ago. But I was starting to remember all the details, and I was really into the feeling and into the exact memory. And during the process of this whole thing, at one point, she had me kind of implant a new memory in there. And it was phenomenal. I was like, I actually recreated the memory. And that just goes to show you how time really isn't a thing. I was able to go right in there and put in a new feeling, a new memory, and a new way to look at that. But some of the things that came up for me was fear. I'm not safe. I'm trapped. I'm helpless. I'm powerless. I'm weak, which I didn't expect. I had written some things out beforehand, but I didn't expect to say that I'm weak or I feel weak, especially in front of people that have a more masculine energy. So it was safer and easier for me to express what I viewed as my weakness, which was being sick and scared, in front of people who were more feminine energies or more really extreme nurturing energies. And I didn't want to show that or feel that or be in that situation in front of masculine or more male energy, because I was embarrassed and I felt weak. I felt weak and embarrassed. So identifying those emotions, and then why, some of the thoughts were like, well, I'm tough. I'm the rebel kid. I'm the kid that plays sports. I ride on the back of motorcycles. So for me to be in that moment was, in my perspective, would be out of control, helpless, weak. And since I was scared and started to have anxiety, I was very embarrassed of that. And I was very embarrassed of it for a lot of my life after that, and didn't even realize how the weakness, the weak feeling and the embarrassment, especially in front of masculine energy people, because I was afraid they were going to reject me. I was afraid they were going to think that I was a pussy. I was afraid that they were going to think that I was not as valuable to them. And that affected all of my relationships. Even if I was with a person who held more masculine energy, and I don't mean looks or the way they, it's a different vibe. The masculine energy, which is like, not too emotional, not too nurturing. If I was with a partner like that and they were like that, I would be afraid to express that in front of them. Therefore, I wouldn't get comfortable with them, or I would then try to hide it or try to run to somebody else, which was always my mom. She was always the person that I went to, which she kind of is the one who created the pattern for the first 9 years of my life to create my expectation in the first place, that in year 10 that, somebody would always be there, that feminine energy would always be there. So it took me a lot of time to be able to be vulnerable and very emotional, anxious, fearful, or feel in a position where I judged as weak in front of a feminine or in front of a masculine energy person. My dad and I have gotten really close in the past, since my mom died, we did, but we got even closer this past year when I had this illness that came upon me for exposure to different things and all the other mold and all the stuff I don't want to get into talking about right now. But my dad, I allowed him to see me like that, and he didn't view me like that. I allowed other masculine energy females to be around me like that, and some people masculine or feminine energy aren't going to like what they see. They aren't going to accept that. They're not going to want to be around you in that state because you trigger them and that stuff that they need to work on, or they just don't like it. And then it's like, oh, well, they just don't want to be around it. Okay. So then you know who are the people that you can connect with and who you can't in that moment, or who are your people that are safe, who are your people that are your tribe that are going to be having your back. And, I realized mostly that it's got to be me. So today I woke up and I had to do a fasting, 12-hour fast for blood work. I said, usually I call somebody to go sit in the parking lot or just sit there because I'm usually afraid and I'm nervous and I want somebody there that I know. So today I was like, you know what? I got this. I got myself. I did this whole thing last night. It was amazing. So I go in, I get my blood work. I'm waiting, to get the blood and the tubes. She's putting the stickers on. So the anticipation is rising and rising, but I'm still cool. So, I went to the bathroom a couple times, got it out. I thought, okay, I'm cool. She takes like 8, 10, 12 tubes of blood. It was a lot. And so she looks at me and she says, let me get you some more. She says, looks like you're going to pass out. Well, you just implanted that idea into my freaking head. So now I'm like fighting that. At the same time, I feel myself sweating. So she gives me the orange juice and I chug it, corn syrup and all, shit that I would never put in my body. And I'm like, oh, now I feel worse. So I stood up to leave and I got out to the front of the lobby of the hospital and I was like, I think I'm going to pass out or something. I started to get shaky and it felt like an adrenaline rush. It felt like a panic attack. It felt like low sugar. It felt like a histamine attack. I don't know what it felt like, all of those things. So I sat down on the chair and here was this big dude and he was like, aren't you a boxer? Aren't you somebody who does like kickboxing and stuff? And I'm like, yeah. So here's this masculine energy in my weak moment showing up in my life. The very next day after I talked about that, I was like, yeah, and I'm answering his questions. And I sat down and I was just like, I feel really sick right now. I don't feel well. Then there was a woman there who was a feminine energy. Can I help you? Can I get you something? I'm like, no, I'm okay. I just need to sit here. So eventually I just kind of sat in the physical sensations that were massively uncomfortable with people walking in and out. Nobody that I knew around. And I was like, oh man, okay, here I am sitting with this. And so, eventually I went to the bathroom and, the woman was like, let me walk you to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. It was fine. I got out. I went and met my dad for lunch. And I took a half an Ativan because at that point I was over it. So, I'm not perfect. I'm not at 100%. Just like I preach all these things on these YouTube videos and I help people, but this is where I'm at still. These are the things that I'm still currently working on. And it's been years. I started working on the fear of illness and medical things and the fear of being trapped and stuck and fear of illness and body sensations. And ever since my mother died in 2013. And I have gotten far. Yes, I have come so far, but there's still more to go. And it's another piece of it is acceptance. I have to accept that this is who I am. This is how I am. And I can keep striving to make change. And I can keep working hard at it and pushing and being and sitting and doing and all of the things and all sides and facets of it. And I will. All right. I definitely will. But this is who I am. And I have to accept that this is who I am. And I'm a person who would rather feel comfortable with somebody's there. So, doesn't have to happen. I'm able to see that's not necessary. I was kind of upset. My expectation, which sometimes makes our lives shittier, expectation, got in the way and said, oh, I'm fully expecting to have a smooth sailing experience. I did all that work last night on that old memory and I didn't. I had a pretty shitty experience today, but you know what? I'm just going to keep going. It's not going to stop me from doing that again. And I have faith and I have trust and I have God and I have my guides and I have my angels by my side. And, I have me and that's all I need. You know what I mean? So, all right. Just wanted to share that vulnerable crap. Have a wonderful Tuesday.